And we believe
Mhm.
that if you're going to the US, you're paying so much money.
Yes.
The only way for us to recover is if you do a STEM course.
Students really need to think about return on investment, but oftentimes that gets kind of twisted in a way to where you're looking just at the money exchange immediately after graduation. To me, liberal arts education teaches you.
Indians are obsessed with everything STEM. And we believe
Mhm.
that if you're going to the US, you're paying so much money.
Yes.
The only way for us to recover and recoup that money
Yeah.
spent is if you do a STEM course and then you
Yep.
get a job and then you can pay back, because only the guys who
Right.
will do STEM will get really good jobs. If you're doing a liberal arts program, you may not be able to pay that off in a stipulated time. Question: How how do you define the importance of the liberal arts that exist, and how important will they be in the coming years?
So I think it's not, yes, it is prevalent in India, that approach, but I think it's becoming, I mean, it's an issue in the US too. And I talk a lot about
Absolutely.
return on investment. And I
Yes.
think that students really need to think about return on investment, but oftentimes that gets kind of twisted in a way to where you're looking just at the money exchange immediately after graduation. Again, I think that liberal arts education, especially so for today's generation, by and large, you're going to graduate school, right? If you're serious about your career, you want to do, high level great things, you're pretty much going to graduate school. So to me, liberal arts education teaches you how to think. And if you want to be, for example, a banker or a finance person, you can go study philosophy or statistics or international relations and be really, really smart and go work, for the best investment banking or private equity groups on the planet. Why? Because they're screening for intelligence. They'll teach you all the other things that you need to know about discounting cash flows and building spreadsheets, or management consultancies will teach you everything you know about frameworks and PowerPoints and all of those things. But what they're looking for are creative, intense thinkers. So I sincerely hope that liberal arts never goes away. I think that especially writing, music, art, philosophy, I think these are really important parts of the fabric that holds our society together. And you need people thinking that. Now, you need people studying that and thinking that. Now, do I understand that somebody might not want to drop $350,000 into a philosophy major? Absolutely. So then the other question is, how do we make education affordable? Because
Yes.
it is way out of range for many, many families, not just Indian families, American families. Like if you're not poor enough to get the full scholarships and you're not rich enough to write the check, there's this vast middle of students who are just literally can't afford to go to these schools. And so, they need to be looking at state schools and other ways.
Right. It's very interesting that you say that, because that helps a lot of children decide between what should be my, within reach schools, which should be my safety schools, and which should be my
Yeah.
target schools. How do you help families divide that? Like,
It's such an individual and personalized experience, really. So, I mean, first of all, you have to look at probability of success. So,
right.
what's probable, right? And I always discourage people from doing what I call the lottery ticket approach, which is, well, I'm just going to apply to Stanford REA.
Yeah.
And if you're not competitive, you're wasting that opportunity by throwing an application out into the ether that's probably not even going to be read. And then you want to look at return on investment. You want to look at longer term career prospects. And what I say is you have to think locally and you have to think creatively. So for example, if you want to work in Southern California, USC is going to be a far more powerful, or UCLA is going to be a far more powerful network for you than Brown or Dartmouth or even Harvard, quite frankly, because it's a very tightly knit alumni group that's very localized, and you'll get very, very far with those relationships. And so we want to build the list. For safety schools, we never want to apply to schools we wouldn't attend. There's no point. Like, why apply to a school that you wouldn't go to anyway? Find other, do the work, find the schools where you're like, okay, I would go here. The return here is worth that. Or even think, and I know this is heresy for Indian parents, I get it. But I do have a lot of international students, for example, who will come to California, go to community college for 2 years, excel academically, the cost is much less, and then flip that into, because of the way the laws work and the transfer process works, flip that into UCLA, UC San Diego, Cal, UC Santa Barbara, really top schools. You save a lot of money on tuition and you get exactly the same education and the same piece of paper and degree at the end.
For parenting tips, celebrity interviews, recipes, conversations with experts, DIYs, and lots more. Subscribe to Kidsstoppress now.